Welcome to the show, Whitner Slagsvol. You're in your second year of being on Southern Charmed, which you're trying.
Anytime people's like, oh, you hunt, like you kill animals? I mean, sometimes. Honestly, more often than not, no. And that's not what it's about. So we had to go back and like instrument landing in, and we were coming in just like
Clenching.
anything. I don't see anything.
Are there any girls on the show that you would potentially date? Or
We're
like
getting into territories I'm not going to comment on. No, I can't. Whatever it is, the answer is no. Actually, the neighboring property was a ranch called Zorro Ranch. Remember which one Zorro Ranch was?
Oh.
Yeah. This is something we all should just drag them into the street on. That's not politics. My uncle was Jimmy Buffett, so Jimmy was in a bigger than life, part of my existence. When all the college football stadiums started singing Margaritaville, killed me.
Yeah.
Killed me.
Yeah.
Hold on one second. Just sneaks up.
You're right. G'day everyone. Welcome back to the show. I am Mary O'Neill Phillips, your host, and this is Country Outdoors Podcast. Wherever you are tuning in from, first of all, thank you. Please like, subscribe, and share with your mates. Now, on this week's episode, I have a gentleman who I recently got to share turkey hunting camp with up at Shep Rose's farm. He is one of the castmates of Southern Charmed. He's a lawyer, a low countryman, a sportsman, an apparel brand owner, and he's a family member, late family member, is music royalty, and we're going to get into it all. G'day, mates. It's your host, Mary O'Neill Phillips, and you are listening to Country Outdoors Podcast. It was fun to share camp with you. I don't often get to share camp with Shep either, and so and new people too, and it was always fun when you're hiking through the turkey fields with people that can keep up and that know what they're doing too.
Yeah, right.
So that was a blast. But you and I got to chat behind the scenes a little bit about your family history, and I really want to dig more into that because this is such a special part of the world, and I know that it's got really deep roots, and we discussed that on Shep's side as well. And I know you grew up on your family farm and all of that. So I'd love for you to share a little bit about your family's history and then get into growing up on your family farm, and we'll get into hunting.
Yeah, of course. My family from my dad's side predominantly has been in South Carolina sort of like through one leg or another all the entire time. The Whitners, Joseph Whitner landed in South Carolina in 17-something. He was a 10-year-old orphan. The entire family died on the crossing, and he served under Francis Marion. So that entire family surname, which became my middle name, was in the balance of a 10-year-old orphan, which was pretty cool. We had there was a side of the family that was the Lattas. That was a large King's grant, basically from like Richland all the way up to Charlotte. None of that, like whatever estate has remained in any of sort of the family on our side. I don't know if anyone still holds it. Mm-hmm. And then we have, some Scottish side of the family, the McKeevers. They've been here since the early 1800s. There's a barracks at the Citadel named after General Evander McKeever Law, who was a Confederate general back in the day. And the Slagsvol side of the family were Norwegian immigrants through Canada into Wisconsin, and then that made their way east in the early 1900s. Mm-hmm. All of our land is just land that like my dad has acquired over the years, predominantly timber investment. Mm-hmm.
That's a big thing down here, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, the market's completely collapsed, but that's a different discussion, different podcast. Yeah. And so we moved out to Itchy Grass, which is the farm where that's the farm, quote unquote, where I took everyone last season. Yep. And when I was probably like 5 years old, he bought that property, and he bought like a 200 acres and then like another 100, like kind of just kept picking up plots around it. So now it's about 500, and we have the house, barn, a couple of cabins, some ponds. It's an old mill pond as well. And, yes, I've lived there and have been taking friends up for farm weekends, cooking, shooting, blowing shit up for long, long time. And the other property we've had since probably like 15 or 20 years, it's about 1,800 acres. It's in the Piedmont region, which is more hills and valleys, sort of towards Charlotte, about 45 minutes outside of Charlotte. It's surrounded by other big tracts of land, like other guys like my dad who just own some like cool. So it's just like a really good like little area of a lot of people on the same sort of mission. And he's got a couple of duck impoundments up there that he's been working on the last couple of years, food plots everywhere. Mm-hmm. We got a lodge up there. I took Shep turkey hunting up there last year. Mm-hmm. And So that's like the other property.
Country Outdoors is proud to partner with Yuengling, the oldest brewery in America since 1829 and the official light lager of the outdoors. Did your dad grow up on land?
No, but he grew up as a hunter. Hunting was a big part of, like, you know, his dad would take them hunting, and him and his brothers. And he was, I think, the most avid hunter of the group. Like, him and his friends were hunting like pretty hard back in the day. Like,
everything, you know, or in particular?
Just mainly duck hunting. He was he's always been a huge duck hunter. Like, we've done pheasant. Like, I think I've sat in a deer stand once. Yeah. But duck is like that's like our thing mostly.
Do you remember your first duck hunt?
Yeah, it was at Itchy Grass. I was 10 years old. I had a Remington Youth 1100 20 gauge, and I shot a mallard hen.
Perfect.
It's still a mallard.
I love, exactly. It's still a mallard. And so where you guys are now, like, what does that look like in terms of the work that you guys are doing for ducks? Do you go up there and help with that?
Not as much as he wants me to.
Yeah.
It's 3 hours, and he's like, "You always showing up." Every now and then,
showing up to hunt.
Every now and then, I'll get up there for, like, you know, like a burn or something like that. I have helped, you know, plow some of, like, when I get a chance, I'll get up there and, like, we'll do like a whole weekend of, you know, plowing and planting some food plots, and, you know, a handful of times a year, maybe once or twice, I'll get up there. But he's out there. He's retired now. He sold his business. And, like, the dude's just working hard. He's got a bulldozer, a backhoe, his tractor, handful of other little thingamabobbers. And he loves his bulldozer. He's like, Whit, like, it solves every problem. Too much to do? Bulldozer. Not enough to do? Bulldozer. Too hot? Bulldozer. Too cold? Bulldozer.
Yeah.
Just bulldozer.
Well, you and I were talking about this, and I was talking to a dad about it, actually, is like how like fruitful it is to see the fruits of your labor coming out when you're working on a farm.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the duck impoundments has been a project for the last, like, 10 years. One big storm wiped out one of the levees, and we've got it fenced. Now, I mean, the last, like, 4 or 5 years, it's been, like, operational, and now it's been operational enough that, like, the population of ducks, like, has sort of sustained and, like, migrates to it.
So you've got a mixture of mallards and wood ducks?
No, wood ducks, ringnecks, a couple of gadwall, some teal, and, like, an occasional mallard. But I mean, we hold a couple hundred ringnecks each season. That's and awesome. Ringnecks are a forgiving bird. Like, and they come in big groups that are just so fun. And, like, you'll make a pass and, like, you'll drop one, and they're like, "Oh my God, we lost Bob. We got to go back." And they'll come back, and you're like, "Oh, we lost Joe too. one more lap." And then you're like, "Okay, that's the limit." But we had, you know, probably, I think 4. I went up for 4 shoots this season that were just absolutely sporty.
Oi! Stop. So I've actually been looking at buying land myself, and it's made me realize how important it is to have the right lender, because not all of them truly understand rural living. Most of them, let's be honest, are just wearing suits in New York City. And that's why I love what Rural First are doing. They're a customer-owned cooperative, so they're built to serve people like us and not just push loans. They specialize in land and rural financing, and they even invest back into rural communities, which I personally love. So if you're curious, like I am, go and check them out at ruralfirst.com. That's ruralfirst.com.
Rural First and Closer to What Matters are registered trademarks of Farm Credit Mid-America. NMLS 407249. Equal housing lender. Loans subject to credit approval and eligibility.
I grew up, my dad had a place in Arkansas. Him and a couple of friends had a awesome, real old school, you know, cypress wood, big stone flooded fireplace, all, you know, mounts everywhere type lodge. And we had a rice field out front and about 175 acres of cypress swamp. It's the only place in the world where swamp is like a valuable property. And I mean, I grew up hunting there, like, you know, creme de la creme duck hunting. That was where, like, I cut my teeth. And we'd get invited on, you know, a big ditch flooded green timber hunt every now and then, and just shoot 28 gauges at mallards and just get limits in 45, 30 minutes.
There is something, like, very special about hunting flooded timber early morning, and when they start, especially if it's been a bit rainy, and it's like it's a bit cloudy and then they start circling in. Like
Yeah.
that is the coolest thing in the world.
I mean, there's a guy named Dr. Whit who's an Arkansas children's doctor, pediatrician. And I forget how like family, because the Big Ditch is an area outside of Stuttgart, Arkansas, that up until some other recent project was second to the Panama Canal, like in terms of earth moved, which is absurd.
Wow.
Like some random spot in the middle of fucking Riceland, USA has the most moved earth next to the Panama Canal.
Because they can get away with it probably.
Yeah, right? And so like all this area has been just like controlled flooding off the Cache and the White River, I think. And there are some historic plots of land in there. Like I think the Dr. Pepper family or something owns like some 2,000 acre stretch, and some other prominent big wig family owns like another 2,000 stretch. And this doctor has a 40 acre little dot right between them.
Like, and he's like, thank you.
And it doesn't matter because he's got this beat up old cinder block.
And they probably,
like shack.
neither of them probably hunt, right?
Probably not nearly as much as he does. But I mean, like that is some of the most beautiful like duck condition I've ever been. But so all that's to say, grew up duck hunting in Arkansas for the most part. And now, fruits of your labor. Like my dad he's just so tickled that he's getting his duck hunts that are just, he hops in his little Jeep Wrangler, drives just down the dirt road, gets out, walks out, shoots, gets back in, goes up.
Yeah. Done by 8.
Yeah. And he's gotten really into, and we were talking about this, he's gotten really into the preparation and cooking of duck.
Yeah.
We were on a trip last year in France, my parents, and they met some Michelin chef who had, some duck dishes. And so my dad, got into it with him.
Love it.
Preparation's really intense. So like now, especially, I mean, every now and then I'll be lazy and I'll breast out.
French make the best food.
They always
best.
Do. Well, I mean, them and the Italians. Also the Vietnamese. The like preparation is essential. Like, I mean, if I'm lazy, I'll breast out a duck. I'll try to keep the skin on, but if it's a mallard or something like, real money, or choice, we'll do a full carcass clean. We'll cut out the spine, kind of spatchcock it, and we will pick every bit of fuzz off of it.
Were you saying something about boiling them or something?
Boil the water, dip it in for 20 seconds or like less, and the feathers just come off in swaths. It's infinitely more easy. Cut off the wings and like meticulous, like nothing, like sit there and pick at the little edges, like no feather, get it gone. Just sit there, stay there. And then season it, olive oil it, put it into a bag and in the freezer, just bring it out. And
you put a stick of butter or anything in it?
When I'm cooking? Oh yeah. But not like when I'm like, not when I preserve it. I just put like some olive oil and like season it, like some eaux de Provence or something like that. And like, but now like he's like making like duck bourguignon and like fancy dishes, and like he's very into like the preparation of duck now. It's like one of his.
Have you ever had a duck pancake?
No.
Like with hoisin sauce?
Oh, like the Vietnamese or whatever type like dish. Yes, it's very.
I've had duck pancakes, but I've never had wild duck pancake, and that's what I'd like to try and do because duck pancakes are the bomb.
Yeah, but Vietnamese food has like a bajillion steps to everything. So good luck.
And probably a ton of MSG too, but that's fine. I'll take it.
That's why it tastes so good.
Tell me this, those like early morning traditions, what does that look like for you guys when you're going to hunt? Are you guys cooking? Are you like, or like, let me take a step back. When you're a little kid, what did it look like? Were you like getting out the Swiss Miss and all of that, or like? Early memories, 6, 7 years old, 8 years old, maybe. Like, I don't even think I was carrying my own gun, going duck hunting with my dad. We would stop at this place called the Tackle Box, just some cinder block country store that had like a country kitchen type breakfast. I remember the cinnamon apples. And we would eat there. A guy named Carl ran it. And on the way or on the way home?
On the way home.
Way home, yeah.
And then, once we were starting going to Arkansas real religiously, my dad had a little plane. And so like we'd fly out there, land. Like we had some real wild flights, ice conditions and type stuff. Some fog one time. Honestly, it's a miracle we survived.
Tell me what happened. What happened?
There's one time we were flying in and it was just fog at night. And that's like pilot nightmare because you can't see the ground.
Yeah.
And we were flying over Stuttgart Municipal. And like Stuttgart Municipal, like 723 Kilo Romeo, like your lights on? And like, yeah, Whit, they're on bright. Cause any pilot flies in there, like, they all like know who we are. Yeah, they're on bright. And we're like, oh, fuck. Like we don't have fuel enough to get to like Memphis. We don't have fuel to get to Little Rock. Like we're going to have to like do like I forget what it's called, like a vector landing. And so we had to go back and like instrument landing in, and we were coming in just like, I don't see
clenching.
anything. I don't see anything. I don't see anything. And like 100 feet off the ground, we broke through. There's the lights. There's the ground. Like the runway's here. We're over here. It was just like, put it on the ground. It was just like, whew. There was one other time when it was real icy and we were flying into Stuttgart. We're like, hey, Stuttgart, you open? We're like, yeah, you were open, but someone just get off the runway. It's like, all right, so not going to land. Like, we'll do something else. And again, like not enough fuel to get to Little Rock. And so we flew back to Memphis, and like the ice had like built up on their runway, and we had to like land between two ruts. And like we've scraped lots of times. But yeah, so in Arkansas days, the tradition was we'd get out to our blind in the cypress swamp, and they built this big old blind with like a little back room and car batteries running lights and propane tanks running heaters and a little oven and like a gas stove. And so like we'd shoot, maybe me and my dad would paddle a Piro like further up into, like we had a couple of holes that, you know, the honey hole and the hurricane hole. And like we'd carved like a couple of cypress swamp like benches, and we just kind of leaned two up against a tree, like our little like spots. And then once we got a little bit of a bag, we'd come back to the main like hole with all the decoy rigs and the line.
Have you?
And you know, I'd cook breakfast. It was always my duty.
Bacon sausage,
biscuits, and hash browns.
Yeah.
And we'd, you know, and we'd have milk and coffee, and we'd just sit there and just eat like a nice little breakfast sitting there in the lunch. It was the best. Always the best breakfast. Always the best. And then we'd usually go to some diner on the way home anyway and get like, you know, a barbecue or more breakfast. Yeah. So the traditions there was like predominantly like breakfast in the blind. And then these days the tradition, because it's always moving, you know, we'll wake up real leisurely, put on a fire, put on some like French cooking music.
I love it.
And then, you know, like get out the door and go.
Yeah.
It's real light. And then, you know, get back and
coffee.
Yeah. Like,
take a big thermos of coffee with you.
Yeah, usually. And, it's, you know, it's pretty casual.
Yeah. I love it. Those are the little things that it's just like when people haven't been hunting before and you're like, you just don't understand. It's an experience. Like it's, you can't like, the worst thing you can do, Forrest Gump, please sit down. Obnoxiously just like licking something in the mouth. I love this. The worst thing I think you can do is like when you getting somebody into hunting is make it so hardcore that it's not fun. Like they've got to be able to like, it's all those little things where even if they don't kill something, it's just a fun experience. You know?
I mean, I consider myself a turkey hunter. I'm a terrible turkey hunter. I just recently realized this year that I've been giving what I thought was like the happy cluck. And my dad was like, nah, man, that's the I'm panicked and getting out of here cluck. And I was like, so for the last like 5 years, I've just been like basically telling any turkey that came near me, like, get the fuck out of here, run. No wonder I'm not getting any.
You know, there's a YouTube, right? You could just YouTube watch.
I'm enormously stubborn in learning things. I'm a
lawyer. I know how to do it all.
I'm just enormously stubborn in learning things my own way. And I've never really like thought to just like YouTube a bunch of calls. And so I just kind of get out there and know myself. Also, but like your point, like so much of it for me is more just being in the woods. Like I like just walking around, like listening to the birds, listening to the woods, like kind of come alive, seeing the light change, sitting there and just sort of seeing the passing of like, you'll be sitting there like at like one of my go-to spots. And like, you know, some hawk will just dip and cross the road and get into the trees. And it'll just be like a beautiful little like moment that you get to have the benefit of seeing because you're there.
For sure. Gift. My first deer hunt, you know, where I had like climbed into a tree by myself, and like that's a pretty intimidating thing in the middle of the night. Like, you know, 4 a.m. you're climbing into a tree by yourself as a girl up a ladder and all of that. But then, like,
I don't think there's any like male predators out there. I don't know if the girl element's gonna like add to your situation.
I think it's more that like the damsel in distress. I should be at home in bed and not like walking through the woods. You know,
you got a gun, you're fine.
Bigfoot? That's true. No, bow for me. But I remember like that first hunt, I was like when the light started cracking.
Oh yeah.
The light started cracking, and then I like could see there was a spider that had been weaving a web right in front of me the whole time, and I wasn't like freaked out by it. I was like, that's so cool.
Yeah, I mean, just these tiny little what's like the word I'm looking for? Like scenes that just play out that like you only get to experience because like you're awake. Out there. Yeah.
And that's the thing. And it's like you kind of think like, wow, everybody else is missing out on this. Like that's so sad. Like I'm so lucky that I get to see this.
It's a benefit. Also, the other side of it is just it's been a big part of me and my dad's relationship. I I have, but I kind of rarely hunt with anyone else other than my dad.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, we're not like sitting next to each other, like wild turkey hunting, but like, you know, he'll go that way, I'll go my way. And like, so like, it's been a big part of like my relationship with him. And, you know, so anytime people's like, oh, you hunt, like you kill animals. I mean, sometimes, honestly, more often than not, no. And it's just not, that's not what it's about. That's not what it's about.
Like, also though, there's just become a huge disconnect from field to fork. And it really started like when fast food was invented and there was a disconnect. Like, people weren't tending to gardens as much, and women had entered the workforce, so they weren't at home cooking and all of that as much. And like, I don't know, I think it's really cool that on your show, Shep and yourself have been showcasing a little bit of that, because it's still a huge part of like a way of life. But also during the pandemic, like, we were out doing our turkey tour, and I had so many people, men and women from like New York, big cities, saying, hey, I can't get meat from the supermarket. I'm thinking about getting into hunting. Can you give me some tips? And because you couldn't rely on getting meat from the butcher or anything like that. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, it's a cool thing. So yeah, I think it's cool that you guys do showcase that on the show, and it's a huge part of low country culture too, just outside of the city.
Oh, absolutely. You know, just South Carolina has a very well-established outdoorsman culture. I mean, I've about anywhere I've gone hunting, whether it's South Dakota or Arkansas or anywhere in between, you will see a South Carolina license plate on some F-150 somewhere. Maybe pulling a boat. You'll see them.
I love it.
We're everywhere.
If you hunt, you know how easy it is to lose track of where you are, especially around property lines. That's why here at Country Outdoors, we only use onX Hunt, the #1 hunting app. It shows public and private boundary lines, so you always know where you stand. We use it for scouting, marking spots, and even navigating. It just takes the guesswork out of everything. If you want to hunt smarter this season, go check out onX Hunt at onxmaps.com and know where you stand. Let's talk about the show. So you're you're in your second year of being on Southern Charmed, which you're trying, which is in its 12th season, and it's just crazy that show has been around that long. I met Shep and I first started becoming friends in like, I think it was 2014 when the show, it must have been around the time that the show had aired, and it's just wild to see how long that's been around for. But yeah, I just wanted to ask you, I know you can't talk about like specifics on like what's going on with the show and stuff, but how was it for you going from being thrust into the spotlight? You know, you're quite a private citizen, like going and you're a lawyer and, you know, farm, and then it's like, boom, Bravo, like not just any reality show, like a Bravo reality show.
Well, it's a lot. It's a real big shift of pace. I think I kind of came into it with a bit of perspective. One, because as you alluded to, my uncle was Jimmy Buffett. So I grew up in and around their lives and culture. So like, for whatever reason, just reality TV stardom, for lack of a better term, just doesn't seem all that important to me. It seems like, you know, I'm just some dude with a camera in front of me for whatever reason. And it's whatever. It's fun. If it works, it works. People like it, and that's cool. But like, I don't think I'm approaching it with anything other than like, this is an opportunity for some experiences, some business, like just marketing value out of it, you know, some genuine relationships from the people on the show. And so like, I don't think I've just been kind of wary in my approach to it. And I'm also a bit older than most of the people when they kind of come into the show. I'm, you know, I was in my 30s. So is Shep, but he's just a different kind of beast. But you know, he'll never grow up. We
love you, Shep.
We love you, Shep. So like, I guess like, how has it been? It's been strange. It's been very surreal. Like, getting recognized by people and having people ask me for pictures is never not an unusual experience.
But also cool.
Yeah, I mean, people are like, is it annoying? I'm like, no, I mean, like, cause it's usually some, you know, older lady or, you know, some girl. And like, it's usually some experience where like, it kind of makes their day. And someone's like, oh my God, are you Whitner? And I'm like, kind of sheepish, like, yeah, I kind of am, it turns out. And like, I get a picture and I talk to them and I try to be friendly and like, it's made their day. Like what, how could it be bad to make someone's day? Like I feel good to have made that day. So it's been fun. And there's some, exciting aspects of it. It is a little difficult as well. The scrutiny, the public attention, that's just kind of uncomfortable. I have been and try to continue to be a private person. Yeah. But like,
what's allowed to be is the different question.
Yeah. Like how private can I be? And, last season, it's because it's a show and I was only on it for so many, I bet you like collective screen time was like maybe 30 minutes. I mean, I don't really know. I mean, I was on it a pretty good bit, but like not all that much. I wasn't like main storyline or anything. Yeah. And I'm not, trying to be, not my goal. And so like lots of the questions I got last year when I was doing stuff was like, what's it like being the new like single single guy, you're such like, seem like such a good person. I'm like, listen, I am no altar boy. I have a good edit going right now, which is fun and all, but like, I'm not trying to present as an altar boy. Like I got skeletons. Like I'm just a guy who's been single in this town as well. So like, I was like, I'm very uncomfortable with the pedestal position because you fall from pedestals. I want to come right on back down. And
I thought, for some reason, I thought you were going to go somewhere else. You said altar boy and then you said pedo and I just...
Oh God, no. No. I have this sort of like lofty portrayal and I am very comfortable with coming back down to a more grounded, like, no, he's just one of the boys as well. Like that's more reality.
Well, I think it's so people probably are interested because the men on that show tend to be like the leads, like, and so it's probably just a matter of time. Like it's an interesting show because of that, which is not, you see all most of the other shows, which are the housewives shows or whatever they are. I would say even on Summer House, like the females have tended to be the leads, but on this show, it's very much male dominated storylines. So yeah.
And a lot of the relationships. And so like me and Shep have known each other for a long time.
Yeah, they're genuine.
And I have known Craig for a long time. Now, of course, Craig and I weren't like best college friends or anything, but like I've known him a long time. He was really good friends with my sister. And so, there's like an actual connection there. There's an actual relationship there. Austin and I have become pretty good buds over the last like year and a half. So like there's a genuine relationship there. Molly's one of my ride or dies. So like real good friend there. So like there are genuine connections and relationships that are worth exploring if, reality TV is, ostensibly trying to do that.
I said to you off camera, like Molly seems like a really cool chick. And that's not just because I grew up, so I played the trombone in primary school and my sister played the sax.
She was like the phonium, or she's going to hit me for not saying it right. The euphonium, is that right? I think that's right.
I was doing before a month ago, I was like, I'm going to catch up on all the Southern Charmed episodes. And I was like, that Molly chick is cool. Like I like people that are a bit dorky and geeky because I have that side to me too.
Same. Same. So I like the dorky nerdiness. Like I get a lot of initial impressions kind of standoffish, I guess. But then the moment I let my guard down even remotely, I'm just a big dork. And
not afraid to go to a musical, not afraid to sing to it.
No, of course not. I am 16. So we hit it off immediately.
Yeah.
She's, we kind of confessed to each other in the same moment. I was like, you're one of my only pinned conversations. She's like, you're my pinned conversation. And I was like, oh, look at us. And so she's great. She's just wonderful.
And there's no romantic interest.
Nah, we're just good homies.
Good friends.
And why fuck up a good friendship with a romantic situation? The romantic attempts in this ecosystem are messy.
Yeah.
Messy.
I told you when we were in hunting camp, I was on The Bachelor in Australia and I ended up learning a lot about how it works behind the scenes. But
same.
Does the production side lead storylines, whether or not you can say that or not?
I think we're getting into territories I'm not going to comment on.
Okay. Can you?
Nope. No, I can't. Whatever it is, the answer is no.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
Nope.
Are there any girls on the show that you would potentially date?
That's also unchartable territory.
Do any of the girls on the show hunt?
Not that I know of.
No. Any of them like country?
Vanita's actually a little bit of a country girl. She will like grab a snake off the ground, and I think we're gonna go crabbing next week.
That's awesome.
She's got a bit of a country edge to her. And I've taken Molly and Vanita up to the farm like again.
And they'll get down with it.
Yeah. Molly is real big into like shark tooth hunting. Like she goes up in like Somerville and like sifts through the streams and finds like big old shark teeth.
Yeah, they've got all them. They've here, like we're in my friend AJ's studio. They find them here.
Oh yeah,
in the backyards and stuff.
Yeah. Whereas the Carolinas are like one of the best spots to find meg teeth for whatever reason.
Shep, he knows.
He always does.
To 100, I don't think I lose my enthusiasm.
The more things change, the more they stay the same around here. After 40 years of dirt, sticks and leaves, I think it's safe to say the Mossy Oak family and brand are people that you can trust. So head to mossyoak.com and get your gear today. Tell me this, did the girls know who your uncle was?
Like going into it? I mean... Or like, do they know who Jimmy Buffett is?
Yeah, like...
Or was.
I mean, yeah, and number one, like, I'm so sorry for your loss. Like,
I appreciate that. Jimmy was a bigger than life, part of my existence. He had an outsized influence on not just me, but my entire family. My dad, would say that he knew Jimmy longer than he knew his own dad. I realized when he passed that all of because we traveled a lot with them because we were sort of a convenient age for their kids. And then my dad and his sister were really close with their sibling relationships. And mom was really close with Jimmy. They had some stories. Seriously. And each one of these trips that we did with them, like in hindsight, was any one of them would be a once in a lifetime, life-changing experience. And we were just doing it every year.
Yeah.
Like, the great migration safari, top of the line type sit down cater, like out of Africa type campsites for like weeks, or like on his boat down in the San Blas Islands off Panama with his seaplane picking us up to take us like snorkeling.
Yeah.
We landed on a river once in some jungle in Panama, and out of the jungle, like paddled like dugout canoes, like Indiana Jones shit, picked me and my dad off like the seaplane and like took us to their jungle village, the rainforest like village where this tribe lived, and like led us to some cave. It wasn't like some cave where there was like a tour going like with lights and like safety. Like they just led us into the jungle. The jungle opened up and there was a cave, and we just walked on into the cave swimming. Like it just so many adventures. So, no one did it better than him. And he was very generous to have shared any of that with us. And we miss him, and every now and then a song will come on and it'll just sneak up on me and I'll get stabbed, get real upset all of a sudden. I can already feel it creeping. He did it right. No one did it bigger than him.
What would you take away from how he lived his life?
I think just working hard towards being the person you want to be, and like the person you are, being like true to that. Because I mean, Jimmy, he was Jimmy the entire time. And maybe there were some trappings of rock star success where he was less the island boy that his like image was, and more of like a higher style life. But he was fishing, surfing, music, traveling, meeting people until the very end. And that was always his motive. That was always his thing. That's what he wanted to do.
I saw like after he passed, social media was just like completely blowing up with stories, and just the amount of people that he seemed to have touched their lives, from Kelly Slater and Jack Johnson, which are the obvious. And then so he seemed to have really been able to ride that like middle line in like having love on both sides of the political spectrum, because I think all people want to be happy and love and respect that music. And not many people have been able to do that, especially in today's climate.
Yeah.
And so, I remember like saying, from Jake Owen to Kelly Slater and back, and it's very.
He was friends with Kelly. I met Kelly
obviously
once.
Alan Jackson. And,
yeah, right. I'd met Kelly once long ago with Jimmy. I wouldn't imagine he would remember it or know. I got in a screaming fight with John McEnroe at Jimmy's memorial show, which was fun.
What was that about?
No, I don't think it was real, but my dad was like, "Do you know who you're fighting right now?" I was like, "Yeah, I know." John McEnroe was a friend with Jimmy as well, and Jimmy's younger son Cameron's a tennis player, and I think like a tennis instructor presently. And Jimmy had John, come check him out, and the way John was telling the story at the show, like on the show, like very live. The way he said the story, it sort of sounded like he was telling Cameron not to quit his day job. But what he meant to say was telling Jimmy not to do something. He said it kind of kind of ham-fisted way. And Cameron looked at me and was like, "Did John McEnroe just insult me?" And I was like, it kind of felt like he did. And so later we were all backstage. I was like, "Hey, Mr. McEnroe, I got a bone to pick with you." And he was like, "Oh yeah, what about?" So we were just yelling back and forth at each other. I think it was in good spirits.
Well, my favorite Jimmy song, I think it used to be back in the day when I was younger, Cheeseburger in Paradise, because that was just like me as a young girl, just loving getting amongst it and having a drink. But since he passed, probably Bubbles Up.
Bubbles Up, one of his last songs.
Yeah.
Real good story behind it. He went to some Navy SEALs, like he did a lot of veteran work, and he was like doing some sort of training thing with them, and I think it was the commandant or admiral of that base was kind of giving him the tour of, I guess, their base and giving him like the experience. And Jimmy was like, no, I really want to do like the full jump out, like dive, like rescue sort of like whatever exercise he was doing. I don't want it like some lighter version. Like, what advice do you have? And the guy said, well, if like you start panicking, like follow the bubbles, like they're going up. And that was where that song came from. Or something. I kind of paraphrase, but that's more or less it. My favorite song would be probably Tin Cup Chalice or Gypsies in the Palace, because my parents were the Gypsies. I know that that's an offensive term. I've gotten yelled at about that. I'm sorry. It was written back then. To the Roma viewers, I apologize.
Hey, I'm not that sensitive on this show, but yeah.
I'm not, but I'll put out the disclaimer.
Was it about your parents?
No, but I mean, like all the gypsies in the palace. Like my parents were very much amongst the gypsies riding in the palace.
Yeah.
And I mean, Tin Cup Chalice is the one. That's my go-to.
I love it. Well, thank you for sharing about him. I know that's probably not the easiest thing, but we appreciate it, especially country outdoors. We're based in Nashville, so like
he had a long Nashville existence.
Yes.
The final note on it is when all the college football stadiums started singing Margaritaville. Killed me.
Yeah.
Killed me.
Yeah.
All right, good. His Southern Cross is the best. And Brown Eyed Girl is the best. I would always tease him that my favorite song of his was his two covers.
It doesn't get easy, like ever losing a family member.
No. And it totally sneaks up in it, like just randomly a song will come on and it's like, oof, got me. Sometimes I can listen to it and it's just one of my favorite songs.
Well, you're in such an unusual position, whereas like the rest of us like can grieve still as much pain, but quietly. But you're just like, it's a beautiful thing, and also like stings because you're just constantly. I'm sure every time you go out, probably.
I mean,
like if you tiki bar.
I mean,
it's gonna be on.
I'm not that triggered, but it's not every song. It's just every now and then it just kind of sneaks up, and reflecting on the football thing that got me.
Thank you for sharing that.
A lot of us grew up with Field & Stream, dreaming about our next cast, our next hunt, and our next outdoor escape. So join the 1871 Club today and head to fieldandstream.com/1871club.
I want to get into your apparel brand, Block and Ink, and the story behind that.
Block print fabrics from India, one of the sort of legacies of Jimmy and my own parents. Honestly, they were big travelers of their own right. My dad was always a big adventurous guy. I'm a big traveler, and in 2019, a friend of my sister's invited me to the Maharaja of the Kingdom of Jaipur's Royal New Year's Eve at the palace. I was like,
it sounds fake.
it's just all very real. And I was like, well, shit, I'll go. And just a quick little diatribe on that. Like I had been practicing for basically like 2 years on my own at that point and had just started doing some advertising. And in October, this was like maybe December that like the plan to go to India had come up. In October, I'd gotten a call from a local Hindu temple to do like the raffle for their Diwali like festival. And I was like, oh, you need help with the license? They're like, no, we already did all that. I was like, oh, you need help like securing like the vendor agreements? Like, oh no, we did all that. I was like, what do you need? And like, we just need someone to read out the results. I was like, oh, well, that's not really a lawyer job. And like, we know, but like if you do it, no one will question it. And I was like, okay, fine, I'll do it. And I bought 2 raffle tickets, let me plug my company. I won't bill you much. And like, also here's like, $200 for some raffle tickets. I won the grand prize of $30,000.
Stop.
From that raffle.
Are you kidding me?
No, I'm not kidding. Like card in hand and everything. And I like read out the number. No one said anything. And I saw the name. I was like, oh shit. Like microphone up and everything. I was like, oh. And like the guy looked back and like the guy was like the head. He was like, be cool, be cool. And I'm like, oh. And so they were all like thrilled. They thought it was the coolest thing. I gave $5,000 right back to the temple. It's like, I want my karma good. Yeah. And right now, y'all's gods seem to like me. So I'm going to pay up on this one presently. I'm still good with the Hindu ones. We're good. We're good. And so I just won $30,000 at this Hindu temple professionally. And I didn't rig anything. I want to be very clear about this. It was all very above board. So when this invitation for the Jaipur New Year's Eve came along, I was like, hell yeah, I'll go. That's serendipity right there. I got the money. Yeah. And like my passport was not expired, but like didn't have 6 months left. And so like I had to drive to Atlanta and back to the passport center to get it. Like I was not missing this trip. I pulled it off. While there, I had some shirts made in like the local fun patterns made like without the collar to sort of like, hey, make me some short sleeve button downs that are fun. Give me these. And I came home with them and people kept being like, that's the coolest shirt. Where'd you get it? And I would give the guy, like the random tailor in Jaipur, I'd give them like his WhatsApp and be like, just send them your measurements. We'll send you something. And I was thinking, well, that could be easy enough. Like I had been at that time in my legal practice dabbling in some entrepreneurial efforts. It was like, I could spin up an e-com, a brand. Like, I got a friend who's got some experience in this world. Like, let me go to him. It's like, spun it up and have just been kind of running it down. And so when I had said no to the show in the past, that was one of the things that had changed, in addition to also just being relatively recently single, was like, I have this business that will benefit from the exposure. Like, why not? Take the jump.
And it is pretty unique as well. And it's all made. So like, is it cotton?
Yeah, it's cotton from India. It's stained by like artisan dudes who carve out the blocks and stamp out the patterns.
That's really cool.
And, it's a fun, cool product. So like, it's just been easy.
What does that look like in terms of like order quantity that you have to do? I'm just curious.
Oh, and well, so, I mean, depends on how much we want our margins to improve. But if we do like an order in the thousands, the margins are closer to like 40. If we do an order in, the tens of thousands, it'll be closer to like a 60% margin. Just based on like how much cheaper it is.
Very cool. Well, yeah. So guys, if you're watching Southern Charmed, you can see Whitner wearing all of his cool shirts. And is it all online at the moment?
Yeah, all online. We're in a couple of shops, but e-com mainly. We have like an inventory in Florida, and yeah.
Awesome.
Since 1973, the National Wild Turkey Federation has been working tirelessly to conserve the wild turkey and to preserve our hunting heritage. Visit nwtf.org and join for just $35 to leave a lasting legacy that will help conserve wildlife and unite a nation through life-changing power of the outdoors.
Before we wrap up, I want to ask you a couple of like questions that I love to ask people. The first one is, what do you want to be remembered for?
My name is Ozymandias, King of Kings. Look on my creations, ye mortals, in despair. That's Percy Shelley's Ozymandias, a poem. And it's about like some great, I think it's a statue, Egyptian, in the desert, covered in sand. And at the base of it, as they like sweep it aside, it says, my name is Ozymandias, King of Kings. It was covered up by dirt, though, right? So, like, what was he actually remembered for? Was he remembered? My point being, I don't necessarily have some ambition to be remembered. I think that we all get forgotten. It's just a matter of time. So, I'd like for the people who know me and the people who've who actually experienced me just to remember me fondly with a good laugh and maybe a tear. I don't want anyone else to bother with it. That's fine.
Good answer. In a perfect situation, what does your life look like in 10 years?
10 years. So I have a tech company as well. It's called Ripple 2. Got a bunch of AFSOC vets, combat controllers, and we do some innovative R&D work with low, no signature kind of comm stuff. And now we're working with situational awareness platforms in law enforcement and first responders. I say all that just because, one, I work with the veteran community, and this is very clearly involved. I'm also on the board of Warrior Surf Foundation, another veteran thing, unrelated, but just throwing it out there. I would love to build up Ripple 2 to a point where I can, sell it to someone who can continue the noble mission that we're doing there. I'd like to build up Block and Ink to a point where I can sell that one as well, and let someone run that nice brand off into its sunset, and have some land.
Yeah.
And some relatively easy income streams of not
passive income.
Yeah, just I'd like to sell a couple of companies by then, and hopefully have the next project, because I'm not gonna be able to sit still. But I'd like to have gotten a few of them to the finish line by then.
Will you still be in the low country, do you think?
I will probably always have a foot in the low country, but in 20 to 30 years, the water's going to be real high. So we're all going to wonder what that's like when 90% of the population has to move 20 miles inland.
Thankfully, your hunting farm.
Yeah, I'm going to be looking real good.
You're going to be living up in the...
Property values are up. I will always have a foot in Charleston, I think, in the low country. I'm just too fond of it. I will probably always try to have one or both of the family farms, just because. And yeah, I mean, the only other thing that would just be a dream, some Santa Fe or kind of Montana ranch would be real cool with a river running down it. That'd be something real choice.
Just Snake River, Jackson Hole.
Yeah, just yeah. Just something just real marvelous.
Just $1 billion
casual,
literally $1 billion.
I saw the Silverado, Tom Ford's ranch, 30,000 acres outside of Santa Fe. It has the Silverado Western town on it. It is you have mountain ranges. You don't have a cool pond. You have a river.
Yeah.
You have a county.
You have a city.
Actually, the neighboring property was a ranch called Zorro Ranch.
Zorro Ranch. Yeah.
Does that strike you? You remember which one Zorro Ranch was?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. I was like, who's that big house up there? And kept driving down the road, because these gates are hours apart.
I'm still waiting for all of that to come out.
Right? Gotta fucking take them to the street and burn them.
We've gotten this far without getting into politics.
That's not politics. That's not politics.
It
should be.
It shouldn't be.
No,
but it
shouldn't be.
But it is because it's being controlled by politicians.
This is something we all should just drag them into the street on.
We're talking about Epstein, guys, if you hadn't guessed here. So, I mean, me personally, I think everybody should care about this. But, I do work in anti-human trafficking in Nashville. And
I'll send you a song right when we wrap up. It's statement to my political leanings on this particular topic. It's a good one. No, so yeah, past Zorro Ranch, which was ugh.
It took me a second, and then you said Zorro, and I was like, oh, Zorro, yeah.
When I passed the big gate, I was like, Zorro Ranch, why do I know that name? And I kept thinking,
why is that place not being investigated yet? Why is it still
wait, it was in
there?
the news. It was in the news. Yeah. So I would like to some Western ranch would be lovely, or some acreage on the coast in Dominican or Costa or Nico, that'd be cool too.
Yeah, I love it. My last question is going to be bucket list adventure.
Bucket list, man. I have a constant bucket list of adventures. I would love, I think, just to make it a concise answer, I would love to do either Australia or New Zealand or both of them, but it would need substantial amount of time. Van road
van
trip
life,
adventure. I would love to just tour all of New Zealand or the entire Gold Coast, just
because you surf too, right?
Yeah, surfing, adventuring, finding things. I've done a lot of backpacking, all through high school and college. I did the running of the bulls when I was 17 years old by myself and walked the Camino de Santiago with a friend.
Yeah.
And then have done a bunch of Asia and Europe through college time frames. So I'm real good at just sort of day-to-time adventures. You put me
That's living.
Like a road trip for like by Southeast Asia. It was like I just did 2 days at a time. I had a motorcycle, a handlebar mustache, an 8-ball on my helmet, and was just like, where am I going next?
Well, the cool thing is, like, you know, a lot of people think, oh, when you have kids, like, you got to do that before you have kids. We've been doing it with Molly, and we'll get a camper, and she comes with us everywhere. And actually, it's like the best experience. She's like the little wild thornberry kid. Do you know what I mean? And it's like,
well, that's what my parents did with us. So like, I'm a huge proponent. My parents would get questions from their friends, like, why are you going through all this effort and money to take kids not going to remember? And they're like, no, it's in them somewhere. Like it
creates their DNA and like
100%,
really makes them
fiber.
Open to all different cultures as well.
Yeah. Greatest cure to ignorance.
Yeah.
Travel.
For sure. Well, good. It's been great conversations. I feel like we're just scratching the surface here, so we'll definitely have to have you back on and in the future as well. But I'm excited.
We'll get you up to the properties as well. We'll have to do a tour of Itchy and Sweet Prospect sometime.
Yeah, in the fall, I think, when you've got ducks there, so we can.
Oh, you want to try to get on the duck hunt? Nice try. You got to
clear. I also want your dad to feed me.
You're gonna have to clear that through Big Whit, and that's a different ballpark.
Yeah. Well, once he's seen this, you know, hopefully, I sweetened him up with some Field and Stream magazines and hunting clothes and stuff.
You did give him some gear. My dad is easily bought. That is his lowest qualities that you can buy him.
Yeah, and I like French food too, so I will like happily let him cook for me.
Well, we'll make it happen. Hopefully in the fall.
I love it. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you
been
for
a pleasure.
It's been fun.